Hi everyone, it's this time of the year. So before we start our countdown, just a quick hi. And let me get this one big. Um, a big thank you, a massive thank you to the supporters of this podcast season, this Retail O-Tone season with Zühlke, Diebold Nixdorf, and iXtenso. We're having this format live here for you guys. And since we're starting the countdown now in a second, don't forget that we have plenty of episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts available for your service. See you in 5 minutes.
Wenn man ein reiner Onliner ist, dann hat man sich mit diesen Fragestellungen nicht ganz so sehr zu beschäftigen.
Wir als Unternehmen haben dadurch auch sehr viel gelernt.
Da wäre es falsch, wenn wir einfach zwingend einen Grund suchen, um die Flächen zu halten, sondern wir müssen wirklich einen Mehrwert schaffen für den Kunden.
Retail O-Tones, Retail Experts on the Mic, Staffel Nummer 3 mit dem Thema Me, Myself and AI. KI im Handel mit Menschen. Los. Aloha and welcome to Retail O-Tones, Retail Experts on the Mic. My name is Alexis. I'm a retail reporter and moderator, and I love retail and the people that work in it, with it, and for it. So today marks a very special episode because today's episode number, I don't even know, I think 24-ish, 23. But what we have today is our season opening of season number 3, as you heard in the intro before. And today's season topic is me, myself, and AI. Because AI is everywhere, but it has been roughly 1.5 years that AI has spread through the country, through the world, and people start with ChatGPT to, yeah, kind of do everything from their homework to their shopping list to their meal plans. In the private sector, people are just doing ChatGPT, yeah, kind of everything. But what does it mean for retail? And you guys are probably wondering why I'm speaking English in this mainly German podcast. And there is a very specific reason for that, because today's episode is kind of an orientation episode. And with that saying, I'm saying, hi, Laurence. Nice to have you on the podcast.
Hi there.
So, Laurence, you're from Zühlke UK, and as a managing director of Cross Market UK, that's a long title. Tell us what is your daily business and how do you relate to the topic of AI?
Daily business. Yeah, so thank you for having me on. I'm very glad that we're doing this in English. That really helps me. So what do I do on a daily basis? So I think there's the kind of there's the typical stuff like we're looking to do. We're looking to grow our business in retail, very specifically across EMEA. But ultimately, I think we're just trying to find fun things for our engineers to do, and data, and certainly Gen AI is an interesting space right now for us.
Absolutely. And there is a very specific reason as well why we chose the UK market as kind of a North Star to look at when we talk about new technologies such as AI. Because let's be honest, POS systems, anti-theft solutions, and also AI, UK has been, let's say, a bit faster in trying things out, in implementing new technology. The German market is, I wouldn't say slow, but they're more reserved at trying more in the hideout rather than in public. Is this your impression from the outside as well?
I'd say, I think personally, yeah, I went to Hanover recently and was quite surprised why everyone was asking me for cash, for example. Like, so I think there was a little bit of a realization that actually some of the some things and themes and trends and mechanisms are slower in some places than others. So yeah, from kind of a personal experience, yeah, I would agree with that.
So this is why I think you're the perfect person to give us a broad kind of introduction to how how AI is, yeah, whether it is running or walking when we look at the UK, because maybe this is a prediction to what is happening in Germany. I'm just saying maybe because dynamics change, markets change, and this season will be full of examples of retailers that are actually, I would say, running. But from your perspective, what is the AI hype curve like at the moment from a UK perspective?
Yeah, so straight into it then. So I think
Easy.
easy. Yeah, I think what we are seeing with our clients and our prospects is a real illustration of the lack of investment and funding and yeah, just kind of maturity of the technology landscape that is apparent in retail comparative to other types of industries and other sectors. I think that that and it's probably worth just kind of giving a bit of a backdrop in terms of the sort of the economy and the state of
Sure.
the of consumer spending over here certainly is low. I think we've had historically high interest rates, or not historically, comparatively higher interest rates, higher inflation, lower wage growth, and so retailers are dealing with a real painful set of conditions at the moment, and it wasn't great to start with, and it's got even worse recently. I think there was a stat that I saw the other day, which was in the 8 years from 2012 to 2020, the profit margins of retailers in the UK have halved.
Oh,
From
wow.
from I think it's 14% to 7% or 8%. So that's again, industry to industry comparatively low. And I think with that comes a set of challenges that are, I think, sort of exacerbated in the retail space. Like it's not that long-term thinking, that real kind of investment in engineering and technology. And I think that's one of the things that certainly we're starting to see over here. Like there is the hype curve, and I think there's lots of little hype curves within that hype curve. And I think there's definitely a pattern starting to emerge here that we're seeing, which is companies that have taken technology seriously and engineering seriously, and have invested in their platforms and their data landscape and their architecture and their infrastructure. They're much more prepared to really take hold of Gen AI and AI in general, and make use out of that. And the companies that haven't done that and haven't been as focused on technology, and from all different parts of that landscape, they're really struggling with it. And I think that's none of these tools are going to solve anything. In fact, it's going to make it even more visible, the ones that haven't invested in their technology.
We will definitely dive deeper into that. You just said a couple of very different points. I try to pick them up one by one. So you said that people that have been investing in engineering their data landscapes, that they profit from it now. Can you explain why? I mean, there are a couple of obvious reasons, but what would you say is the main reason why these have a head start now?
Yeah, I think it's this is all data. Your data has to be it has to be in a good state, and I think especially with some of the companies and some of the businesses that are have bought other companies and other businesses and tried to slot them in under a nice kind of umbrella. Like it's that's a real challenge. So yeah, I think it's not just data, it's engineering and taking technology seriously, and it's everything from the people to the processes to the practices. When you have strong technology leadership at the C-level, then the chances are you have a strong technology position, and engineering it comes hand in hand with that. And so I think what we're seeing is that the companies that have invested in that well and have got good separation or good understanding of their data, and everything's maybe not structured perfectly, but is in good shape, and they understand what they have and where they have it, then those are the companies that seem to be moving quicker.
Yeah, when I started researching the easy topic of AI, I started with the different large language models, small language models, with everything like in theory. And I quickly realized, okay, this is a rabbit hole. It's such a big topic, and you don't really know where to start unless you start with use cases. And then at the same time, the companies themselves, they need orientation as well. Because if you put 10 people in a room and ask them, what shall we use AI for? You maybe have 25 different ideas, but then how do you actually decide, or how do you as a consulting company approach or help consult these companies? And okay, so you're a team of 10 people now. What's the next step? Like how do you collect ideas? How do you prioritize them?
Yeah, that's a really tough one to answer in a single
Like this.
answer. Yeah. So I think everyone's on a different path, and they're at different stages of their journey. And I think what I think we're well versed in data. We're well versed in AI. I think so. We understand the landscape from kind of tooling to pushing things out, pushing business cases out. I think that what we're finding with some of the prospects we're talking to over here is that there's lots of great enthusiasm and excitement within the technology and engineering space, and so it's very easy to just kind of spin up an environment or a particular platform, and then start putting some data into it, and then pulling some insight out of it, and generating some stuff. But it's whether or not that stuff has business value or technical creativity. And I think so one of the things that we find ourselves talking to a lot is how do you take that enthusiasm and that excitement out of just purely a technical engineering space and really try to join it up with a wider business strategy. And I think we're in real danger of that, or certainly some businesses are in real danger of that, because it could be a sort of death by 1,000 teapots, and I think my worry is that the AI will turn into will be the new BI. Like BI, I need my report. I need it to tell me this, and then it's gonna tell me some information. Some of the companies we talk to have got huge business information reporting, and they've got hundreds and thousands of users of those reports, but it's really difficult to get meaningful information out of those reports. And
Yes.
I worry that if it's a continuation of these point solutions all the time, then you'll have dozens and dozens and hundreds of these very sharp, pointy technology solutions. How you join that up is way more difficult, and that's where we typically use our consulting arm and our experiences as engineers, and turning those engineering problems into a business focused solution.
That totally makes sense. I mean, before you before you start with the cool stuff, you have to do the boring stuff. So you
Yeah.
need to see this. This is a. It's funny that I'm quoting you. This is from our pre-chat, and I really love the quote because it really makes clear that if you don't do your homework prior, you can have thousands of solutions, but for what? And
Yeah.
what is the quality of the solutions? Would you say that smaller companies have it easier, or is it more difficult for them to apply AI applications or AI use cases, just by the amount of data that they have?
So I've been back and forth on this one, actually. I think there is a bigger, older, poorly invested from a technology point of view companies will really struggle. I think that, or it's going to be harder if they don't adjust some of those things, like adjust the investment, fix the foundations, really get to grips with the data landscape, how your rules around data, where it's all stored. So I think just by the nature of the smaller the company, the chances of it, you having lots of those data pockets everywhere is probably less. So I think the complexity grows with the size and the age as well. I think we're still seeing lots of Excel sheets being pushed around, and notes, and CSV files, and then someone doing a join on something and sticking it somewhere else. That's
Yeah, but to be fair, this has been working for quite a while in quite a good way. So I've been to a couple of conferences this year, and one AI application that has been implemented was about order management. And so we're talking logistics here, of a e-com player, and they literally had these Excel files, and then the company, the AI company, said, okay, we do the Excel files as well as our predictions, and then we can see what works best. And they did it for half a year, and this was the point where the team was, okay, the AI predictions are even more precise than what we do on Excel, and obviously it costs way less time, and there are less errors, or less potential errors. So this is the kind of change management and change in thoughts that needs to happen, because they were like, we have a system, it works fine. I mean, we're doing profit with that. So why should we put all our all our creativity, all our gut feeling, all our expertise into an AI's hand?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, all of our investment. Yeah, I think it comes back to the point. If just, you know, you have to fix your foundations. You have to you know, you have to get your data in the right place, and you have to yeah, that to me is the crux of it. Like, you know, do your homework, get your stuff in the right shape, and then, you know, no one really knows how powerful Gen AI is going to be, and it could be super powerful, or it could be, you know, that plateau of productivity in terms of the hype curve could be way lower than we're all expecting. But you need to do this stuff anyway. You know, whether it's you know, just so you know where your stock is, so you know who your customer is, you know, all the basic stuff that is just that I think, and again, I just come back to this, that retailers, comparative to other industries, have been super short-sighted with things. And I get it, you know, like when we've been talking to lots of people at the C-level and people that advise retailers, and you know, some things that come across really clearly is, you know, you're only ever a quarter away from a profit warning. I think that was kind of one of the pieces of feedback we got. Like, so, you know, how strategic can you think if you're always trying to just, okay, chase that quarter? So I get it. It's just that to me is really exposing a difference between industries that think long term, more strategic, have invested in technologies, and then industries that haven't.
So I would love to dive deeper into that. I know that you have a kind of broader background. You're not in retail for 20 years. Give us a quick intro. What have you done before? What industries have you been in before? Because then the next question makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, sure. So telco really is my background, and within that, really, media and content. So
Telecommunication, for everybody not aware
sorry,
of that abbreviation. Lingo.
So I was at Sky, the broadcaster, for about 13 years before I joined Zühlke. I joined here in 2022. And my background is really technology and delivery and software engineering. So yeah, a lot of the product launches that Sky Sky have done over the last 5, or maybe a little bit longer than that, then Sky Glass and Q. I was a part of that. So yeah, very different. Very different landscape technically, and I think organizationally as well.
Yeah, so and this is the very interesting thing. So a lot of the people listening have been in retail forever. And I'm always saying, go into the supermarkets, into your DIY stores, and work there for 1 day, for 2 days, for a week, just to get a different perspective. But then having you as someone from a total different background, I mean, back in the years, so you have a broader view of what's happening, and you can compare the industries a tiny bit better. So after your obvious, you've been very precisely saying stuff needs to get done, and at the same time I'm asking you, okay, who's doing a good job then? Do you have some best cases from the UK that we can learn from? Maybe retail, maybe other industries. Is there something that you can share with us where we can maybe learn and discover?
I mean, there's a few. So there's retailers that have made a step change in the investment into their technology estate. I think the ones that are certainly are in the are on the circuits, the event circuits, and talking and putting out different comms. So John Lewis, I think, have been investing heavily recently. B&Q, so Kingfisher, so B&Q, the DIY store, and the parent company, Kingfisher there, and they've had a quite successful couple of years with their marketplace, and even for that to function, that has to be some level of investment from a technology point of view. Next as well, from a kind of fashion and apparel, that they seem to be ahead of the curve in terms of investment. But it's really it's hard to say who wins that race yet, because the finish line's too far out. Those are the ones that we are noticing are people that are investing in this space, and I think if they are doing, they're out in the market talking about migrating away from the legacy and investing in data capabilities and engineering. So those would be my bets in terms of who's gonna be around in the next few years.
Interesting that you're not mentioning any of the German retailers that also have their branches in the
Yeah,
UK.
I think I don't know too much about them. What I do know, and we had this conversation internally a couple of weeks ago, is just how much of a market share the non-UK brands, certainly in the grocery space, are taking, like Lidl and Aldi, and I think that to me is, that is a real threat, and really interesting. And I have some opinions on why that is, but I don't think they'd be super popular. So I'm gonna.
Well, now you have to spill the tea.
Spill the tea.
I mean,
Yeah.
we have to say that German retailers, just to give you an idea what's happening here, they're trying a lot of their technology abroad first before they're
Okay.
bringing it back into Germany. So Rewe Group, for example, they are very successful with their different pick and go stores. They have it in we talk about autonomous stores that are hybrid, is in a hybrid way as well. So you can do the normal way of shopping with SEOs, with like the classic checkout as well, and then you have like the full magic where you go in with the app, just pack everything in your bag and so on. We have a couple of these. But even though they have they have six. Sorry, they have six in Germany. Part of the Rewe Group is Iki as well in Litauen. What's the English word of Litauen? The country, Lithuania. Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a country. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And they're doing even crazier things up there, even with like autonomous cars delivering 6 boxes at the same time. And this is AI as well. So, and this is far away from being implemented in Germany as well. They have like a tiny robot, like a robot that drives around in Hamburg in one of the districts. But that's exactly the point. So they try a lot of stuff abroad, but to bring them in scale, this is not where we are, at least here in the German market at all at the moment. Everybody's testing, everybody's trying, especially when it comes to supermarket formats and how to get the whole area of checkout more efficient and less thefty. Is that a thing?
Okay. Yeah. Thefty. Yeah. Less shrinkage.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Is there
Yeah.
anything that you see in that area, in the
Oh,
area
yeah.
of like POS, precisely? What have you heard? What can
In
you
terms
share?
of shrinkage, you mean in terms of a
Yeah.
UK trend? Yeah, I mean, huge problem at the moment, and getting worse and worse. I think it's actually a bill proposed to make, because it's now gone beyond just kind of shrinkage and theft in stores. There's kind of organized crime gangs that are regularly in the papers, and how they are using violence against shop workers, and it's become quite a it's in the headlines a lot, and a lot of the big retailers have been campaigning to make that a standalone crime, and I think there's a bill proposed at the start of this year to turn that into law, so it will be treated way more seriously for shop workers being assaulted while they're working. So yeah, that's a huge industry problem, and one that invites quite interesting technology as well. Yeah, like some of the computer vision stuff is like really interesting. Some of the you get very quickly into ethics and you can become sort of quite philosophical about it, but the tech is really interesting. How it can spot patterns and facial recognition and things like that. I thought that's something really interesting.
I think this is a place where AI will help a lot in the future, like whether it is the German or the UK market, because theft is a problem everywhere. Luckily in Germany, the level of violence is not that high, but what you're saying is just devastating. Like like working in a supermarket is rough, is tough, because you obviously faced different people in a super high pace with all their mood swings, and with their problems, and you just want to exchange goods for money. So
Yeah.
and yeah, that's quite a thing. But within this podcast season, we will definitely talk more about ethics. We will definitely talk more about to what extent do we need AI at all? Like we had the example earlier with the Excel sheet where we say, okay, maybe something without AI is even more practical because it costs less. Like operational wise, it doesn't make sense to put AI on everything for a lot of reasons. So since we're almost out of time already, Laurence, give us some practical advice. So when people listen to the last 5 minutes of this podcast only, what would they take away? What would you say are, let's say, three things that they should focus on, 3 advices that you can give them from your consultant perspective?
I think I mean, obviously there's a constant theme throughout our conversation, right? So I think it's whether it is irrespective of the trend and irrespective of the type of AI that is hot off the press, ones we know about, ones in the future. Going to sound like a broken record here, like fix the foundations, get your engineering and your platforms in good shape. If you don't, as a retailer, you'll get left behind. And don't be too pointy with the technical solutions. I think there are yes, it's a hard balance, because you want to embrace a lot of that technical excitement, the engineers that are trying this stuff and really producing some interesting output, but to think holistically about how that is contributing towards your P&L, your bottom line. Those would be the kind of the 2 things. And if you're getting stuck anywhere along the line, then we can help.
Easy.
I had to
Thank
plug
you
it
so
at the
much.
end.
Yeah, no, that's so. Actually, my very last question would have been like, okay, when shall people connect with you on LinkedIn or with your colleagues from Zühlke? We had Christian Moser on the podcast before. We had Dennis Kolmanich on the podcast before. So the Zühlke members are definitely well known throughout my podcast from my audience. So when is the point when people should say, hi, maybe we need a bit of help and assistance? What's a good point to start actually looking for external help?
I think I mean, I think it's we run towards the hard problems. I think that is that's one of the things that certainly what I've seen in my experience here is that we the engineers that work here are really like the tough things. They like to get their hands on the things that are difficult and sort of rocket sciencey, and that's that to me is, you know, where we play really well and where we add lots of value. And there's some very difficult things going on in the data and AI world at the moment. So yeah, I think there's no one kind of part of that journey. But I think, you know, when it gets quite difficult and the spotlight's on, then that's the bit that we quite enjoy. Me not so much, but the engineers love it. So
That's very honest of you, Laurence.
yeah.
Thank you. I can already say that later on in the season we have one of your clients, one of Zühlke Switzerland clients here on the podcast as well, Andy from Landi. I met him in person in Zurich this year in April, and I was just blown away from what kind of transition they or you guys together have accomplished throughout a year of working together, especially when, let's say, Landi is not a company that has huge amount of money available for investment, and they start to restructure everything. But I'm not taking away too much there. So we have you can say a case study, a client talking as well later on in the season. Laurence, thank you so much. It was. I would love to say it was fun having you here, but it was also a bit so what you made clear is there is stuff to do, there is homework to do, and it's not all happy bappy, as I love to say.
Happy bappy. I'm going to use that one. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Very welcome. Yeah. Thank you so much.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
So everyone, if you want to hear more of AI in transition, what has happened throughout the last year, I have something for you right here. It is in German, so most of you guys listening most likely are German native speakers. That's at least what my statistics say. So if you scan the QR code over here, you will get beamed over to YouTube. There is the YouTube video. It's roughly 23 minutes that I had with two experts from Zühlke, one AI engineer, and then Dennis Komanich that you already know from season 1. We're talking about chances, but also, Herausforderungen, the challenges of AI, and especially looking at what happened throughout the last year and what problems have come up. So get in there if you want. And then without further ado, I would like to do one more thing, which is thank the supporters of the season for being with me, doing this couple of episodes again with me. This season will be in 2 parts. So part this year, part January, February before our Eurosis. And next episode is already next week. Actually, same place, same time, with Omar Hairani from Chibo, which is absolutely thrilling because they have been doing a lot with Gen AI when it comes to product development. And it seems like they have done their homework. This was it. Wish you a wonderful